YouTube! I know what you're probably thinking. Who is this white-looking Latina? Joke's on you. I'm actually half white, half black. I'm African, to be exact. Togo. Real talk. Well, technically this is my first ever real YouTube video, and it's gonna be on something that's a pretty intense subject. Don't let the bubbliness of me fool you. This is some real talk right here. So, I've been only watching YouTube for the past couple months. I went to a college, my first year of college. Woohoo! No, don't do it. Just kidding. Stay in school, kids, if you want to. If you don't want to, and you want to become a YouTube star, or an actor, or a doctor, no, okay, if you're going to be a doctor, you should probably stay in school. There was some very specific, serious reasons for quitting college, and actually a lot of YouTubers that I've recently started watching really helped me through it. So shoutouts to you guys, because you're making a difference. End up coming home. So there was an incident that took place on campus that just really ruined my school experience for me. It's something that I'm now going to have to really work through, and I'm hoping by me posting this video that if there's anybody else who's watching this or who has gone through this sort of thing themselves, or knows someone who has gone through some sort of abuse, that it can help you really realize like that you're not alone. And that despite what society and other people tell you, your voice does matter. And unfortunately, in situations like this, a lot of people really do want to silence your voice. Emotional abuse. There's just such a wide range of things that you just should not do to people. I actually didn't meet this person until around the end of September. And him and I had become really, really close friends. And he's actually the first person in the world that knows my full testimony down to the T. Which was a really big deal for me because, I don't know, it's just, I mean, I'm all for encouraging people to speak up and share their stories because I think that's super important, but it's a hard thing to do. Anyone who has a story, which is literally everybody, all of you, even those people in your school you look around at and think that have this absolutely perfect life, just remember that everyone has a story. Anyways, it's gonna scooch back. Became really close friends really quickly, and just started spending all of our time together basically. I was really, really excited because this was the first time I had really had a friend that I had, I don't know, trusted enough to be able to really open up to in the way that I opened up to him. And as someone who has seen other people I love and that are close to go through different types of abuse growing up, I should have known the signs, but unfortunately, we only see what we want to see. And there were actually some people as well who would make little comments like, hey, like he's a little physically aggressive with you sometimes, are you okay with that? And I would just completely brush it off and be like, it was an accident, like he's a good guy, he would never intentionally do anything to hurt me. And I have 4 brothers, and so like I'm used to like rough housing around with guys once in a while in a fun way, but never have I ever full out like intentionally hurt one of my brothers and vice versa. Like sure, things get out of hand as siblings, you people with brothers, you know what I'm saying? I guess even sisters. I mean, I don't have any sisters, but I've heard that they are hair pullers. Once in a while, like he'd take my phone, I'd go to get it back, and it started off with little things like him pushing a little bit too hard sometimes, and he would act like he was sorry right away, and I'd be like, oh, obviously it was an accident, because if like, I'm a small person too, like you can't see because I'm sitting down, but I'm just under 5'3", so thanks, Mom. He pushed me downstairs in the rec room for the first time at school. One girl was present for that situation. She's a sweetheart, and she's the one who actually came up to me afterwards when we were walking back to our dorms and was like, hey, he's a little touchy, a little physically aggressive, are you okay with that? And I brushed it off. What had happened is we were horsing around and he had actually just bought me like a sword from Value Village, and I was like over the moon because I I'm kind of a dork that way. I loved it. And then he pushed me and I fell and I hit my head on the booth. And this is after we were just like roughhousing a little bit with the swords, but it was like, I don't know, I'm not a physically super aggressive person, and I'm small, and he's not a small person, and there's a huge strength and size difference, and he pushed me, I fell, and I actually wound up hitting my head on one of the booths downstairs. Again, brushed it off like it was nothing. It hurt, don't get me wrong, and it was shocking, but because he came to me so quickly to help me up, I assumed it was just an accident. Progressed to like grabbing my wrists a little too hard sometimes. Roughhousing is in like tackling me to the ground in the grass. He actually elbowed me right in the temple really, really hard, and then went like this with this part of his hand at one point as well and hit me too hard in the temple. I came home for Thanksgiving break and my grandma asked me like, how'd you get that bruise right here? And I blew it off and said, oh, I walked into a wall. I mean, people who know me do know I'm clumsy, so she didn't think anything of it. And at this point, neither did I really. I mean, I knew where I'd gotten the bruises from, but it was just fun and games, I thought, you know? And then he bought me chocolate. He would do something that I would feel like wasn't super okay, and then he'd give me something or buy me something, and it was kind of like I just completely forgot about what had happened. Then it turned into another push, actually upstairs, right outside the student lounge. And he had pushed me so hard that I fell back and hit my head on the wall, which was super close to the window. And actually another student at that time was present with us. It was another girl, but then a guy actually walked in and saw me on the ground kind of holding my head and him standing up laughing. And the guy asked like, what's going on here? And I said, he pushed me. And the person who pushed me laughed and said, no, I didn't. And then the other guy asked, well, then why is she rubbing her head? And the guy who pushed me was just like, I don't know. Played it off like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. I again brushed it off because I didn't want to see that side of him. But at the same time, just the fact that he had hurt me once again and blown it off like it was nothing instead of actually coming to help me up like he did before, that was a big switch. And yeah, he laughed and denied it right in front of me, and it just made me feel very small and like I was overreacting. It was the first time he hit me in the face, which wasn't overly hard the first time, but he again brushed it off, just like we were just play fighting a little bit, and he just kind of like slapped me in the face, and I was like, whoa. And he was like, oh, sorry, kind of brushed it off. When everything just completely changed, and I completely changed as a person, then he took my phone again, and I went to get it back, but I took a step back because I remembered the last time, and the time before that, how things had gotten physically a little bit out of hand, so I just kind of stood there and was like, can I please have my phone back? And he laughed and just kept like messing around with it and stuff, and I reached to get it back. And there was another girl there as well, actually, and she like pinched him on the shoulder to just kind of like, you're being annoying sort of thing, like give her phone back. And he turned around and backhanded me across the face really hard, harder than I've ever been hit before, not just by him, but even in general, having 4 brothers, none of them have ever backhanded me across the face, no matter how out of hand things have gotten. And there's just something so demeaning about getting backhanded across the face by someone, especially a guy who you began to trust. It was really horrible. To have someone just backhand you in the face like that, let alone a guy who is also your friend. And so the girl I was with, who's very shy and very quiet usually, she actually hit him in the face out of shock, pure shock, because he had hit me so hard. Not with this part of his hand, but just like a full out backhand, which is, it makes you feel very small and very unimportant, and like you deserved it somehow. Like if I was wailing on him and stuff like that, like self-defense, not that it's okay for people to hit people in general, but if it was out of self-defense, that would have been different. But I was literally just standing there and I was already very off. I grabbed my face and I was like, oh my god, that really, really hurt. And he looked at me and smirked and said, I didn't hit you that hard. I grabbed my face and I was like, oh my god, that really, really hurt. And he looked at me and smirked and said, I didn't hit you that hard. For someone to say that after hurting you beforehand multiple times, and once again for them to just look at you smiling about it, acting like you made it up somehow, even though there was a witness there who also saw it, he somehow made me feel like it was my fault. Using names because I just don't think it's necessary at this point, and I don't want to drag the other girl back into it, especially publicly. I just don't think that's right. And I'm not going to say the name of the college either, because it's just, there's really no point in doing that. Because before this incident, I did really enjoy the college, and I know there's a lot of people who are still there, including him, that really do love the college. And I personally love a lot of the faculty there, especially two teachers in particular, two female teachers who were phenomenal through this. A few students started victim blaming me, so I had people come up to me and say things like, well, it must have been something in your personality that made him hate you, or I don't believe you, and all this stuff, even though there were multiple witnesses for multiple things. Like altogether there were probably around 7 people who experienced different parts of these situations, including the stalking and the harassment, and even being stalked themselves. And it got really bad, and it was absolute hell, and I wound up leaving the school because I didn't feel safe enough to continue at all. I wasn't paying attention to my classes. I was having panic attacks. I was constantly on edge. Everywhere I went, he was there. I didn't go to the caf. When I did, I would grab food really quickly and then run back to my dorm. And that's no way to live. And I can't thank certain YouTubers enough, because when I was going through all this, the internet was my only, way to really escape. And shout out to Colby Brock, Sam Golbach, TFIL, that whole channel was awesome. And so being able to sit down and just watch Sam and Colby go do things that I love to do, like go exploring abandoned places and just doing really risky things that are also really fun, and just making those memories with the people closest to you, it really helped me take a look at myself. And I was like, why am I at a school where I feel unsafe? Why am I paying to be at a school where I feel so unsafe that I'm staying in my dorms? I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating. It was just absolute hell for me. So why am I putting myself through this? Why am I letting myself stay in the place where he's getting away with everything he did to me? So I finished watching one of their videos, Sam and Colby's actually, and I decided that night that I was going to come home. Thank you to Colby and Sam for really helping me see that. You guys are awesome. And if you guys aren't already subscribed to their channels, seriously, go check them out. They are phenomenal human beings. And just love yourself, fight for yourself, and I will see you guys soon. I have some adventure videos coming up as well, so there won't be a ton of deep talks like this, but if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, please feel free to comment in the section below. Subscribe if you liked it, like the video. I will see you guys soon.